Roll call, please.
Mrs. Lingo?
Here.
Mr. Parsons?
Here.
Mr. Redding?
Here.
Mrs. Dosa?
Here.
Mr. George?
Here.
Mr. Young?
Here.
Mrs. Rissel?
Here.
Okay, everybody is here and accounted for. That's pretty good for summer sessions with vacations. You have before you the minutes from the June 17th meeting. Okay, I hope you took a moment to look through them, see if there's any corrections to be made.
You can bring that one up.
No, thanks.
Which page? Was that on the revised one, too?
We didn't have a revised.
Oh, no, it's under the, okay.
Anybody have any corrections?
Do we usually put also in attendance the department head that was here? Justin was here in our last meeting.
I don't think we've done it in the past, but it would be a good item to do.
Okay.
We make notion that Justin was here for the last meeting.
I'm sorry? No.
Where are you seeing
In the meeting minutes. It's not in the meeting minutes.
the public works?
Also in attendance. No, that is.
So in attendance, got it, thank you.
on the- After the roll call.
Anybody else have any corrections?
Yes. Under ordinances and resolutions, the last one, 25-1232. It was seconded by Mrs. Redding. She does not want to be on council ever. No, you're fine. But if I can sneak her in my place every once in a while, and get her off, I'll do it. So,
Okay, if everything's corrected, I would like to ask for a motion to adopt the minutes as corrected.
Make a motion to adopt the minutes as corrected.
Mr. Young has made a motion to
Second.
adopt.
Second.
Somebody over here, raise your hand.
Either one. They did.
Peggy, seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Minutes are passed. Correspondence. I do not have any notes or anything for today.
Should have police report on your desk.
Yeah, the police
Financials, I
report, the
guess.
fire report. Fire chief's here to go over his report. Guest and special events. JMA is here. If you'd like to come up to the podium and. Good evening.
I'm Jennifer Batter with JMA Consultants and TC Engineering. I think we merged, I know Scott, that's been a couple years now, so I think may or may not be aware, we still say JMA and I'll probably say it till it's dead. But we are together now, so we will just kind of go through you'll just kind of go through the current projects and upcoming. So we just, yesterday, Madison and Warner, we opened bids for Madison and Warner. Those came in, that is, GCWW is participating with that, so there is a water component with that, in addition to the roadway reconstruction. And, the low bid was about 1.566 million, which is within our OPWC grant and loan. So that is a 30% loan, 70% grant, and the loan is 0% for 30 years. So that will begin. They may start water work later this year, but the majority of that will be all into 2026. That way the road won't be opened up over the winter. So it's very likely. We still are going through the bids to, confirm everything, the numbers, and do the recommendation, but that will more than likely not begin until after the first of the year. Then the next project is Harrison Avenue Phase 2, which opens bids next week, I think it's on the 23rd. And that is from Compton to
Kemper. Compton to Kemper.
Waterworks has finished all the work on that section of Harrison, so they weren't involved in it. But, yeah, I would say that some of the work might start this year, but the finished paving won't be almost certainly until next year.
And then upcoming projects, we have, our OPWC, the next round is due in September. And last year, we applied as the number 2 priority, we applied for Hickman. So we anticipate that would be the city's preference to apply for that as the number 1 priority this year. We could certainly, do whatever, the city would like. But if we move forward with that estimate, it's a big project. And it's the entire limits of Hickman all the way to the terminus. And it's to about 2.4 million, 2.468 is our current estimate.
One of the things we found on that section, your right of way is really narrow. The street is fairly narrow.
It's extremely narrow.
So much paving you can put in, but they'll have to have full walk on both sides. So that number includes a 7-foot sidewalk on either side of the curb on both sides of the road for full length, and that was almost 400,000.
Wow.
And as you know, I mean, it's tight, we've been out there with Scott and Justin and talking about it, that it's tight in there, so, there's parking,
The parking issue's gonna have to do work for you, because there's really not enough room to park on both sides with the roadway. It's gonna be 23, 24 feet wide, which is about what Madison is, between Park and Forest, the new construction. It's fairly narrow. But there's utility poles on both sides that keep you from being able to widen the road, and the right of way is only 40 feet, roughly 40 feet in there. So you're real limited as to what you can do within the right. As far as widening, so just as far as widening.
and we've been going back in with that vertical curve, and so right now, I think people are parking, up onto the grass, so that would no longer really be,
Well, it'd all be concrete
Yeah,
behind
but it's gonna
behind
be,
the curve, yeah.
So that'll be a little bit of a difference in there, so a lot of areas where that curve's pretty gone.
So right now, it's just working on the walk, there's no difference between the walk and the road, really, there is no curve over a big section of that, so, it's a difficult project, it's very constrained, very narrow,
That project is from Compton all the way south?
south,
Yeah, Compton's out.
including that short section, south of St. Clair.
Short piece down there, yeah.
It'd just probably resurface that, I think, ODOT. That right of way, so we'd have to work through that. But, all the way between St. Clair and Compton, and try and do some improvements on that little stuff.
Then if, some of the other streets that have come up, if we want to put in for a number 2 priority, Van Fleet, Hunt Ridge, those are in bad shape, Human Crest, Southampton, so, I think we've done estimates in the past, we certainly need to update those, so, we have a little bit of time to think about that, and council wants to decide, which streets we want to apply for. But we're mid-July, so we'll want to prepare those estimates so that you can consider. A lot of times, I think in the past several years, you've been going in with a 30% match for your number 1 priority, 20% match for your number 2 priority. We're typically not successful with that number 2 priority. A lot of communities have been doing 50%. So we've been very successful with that 30%, and your street levy really helps with that. It gives you some extra points, so that's helpful. But we can prepare those estimates so that you can consider what you might want your match to be. Again, we've been going in with the grant loan, so with anticipated why you're
We'll see.
we don't know of any changes to that, so it's still 0%.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about that one, too.
And as you know, that was just on the ballot in May, and so that program has been renewed for another 10 years.
Is that more money or just continuation of the same amount?
There is more money in it, and I haven't, I don't know the exact amount, but they do have a provision to include more money. I haven't seen what our district will get. I did have that statewide number that they did, it did include an increase. So, which is good, because projects have apply for SORTA funding in May for Seward. We will not know if we're successful with that until August, probably mid-August, end of August, when their meeting is. And that does not have the loan component, so those are always a cash match. So we put in for a 20% match, and that was it's almost $1 million project. It's $995,000 was the construction estimate for that. And then the last one, Adams Road, we put in, some of you, I'm sure, remember the municipal road funds is another program that has funding, but it's only for certain eligible streets, generally your blue streets, Hamilton Avenue, Adams, Compton, I think there's one more. Yeah. So we put in for Adams Road, knowing that it's not in terrible shape, but it's gonna need a rehab here in the near future. So we put in for Adams, we were awarded $125,000. That can be used towards design and or construction. So what we think is we would, probably try to couple that and leverage those funds with another grant source, probably any sort of funds, and apply for that next year, and that would hopefully then be a 2027 project, so,
I know we have the Joseph and McMacken. I just signed off on that maybe 2 weeks ago, so I can finally say that one's official. That one went back and forth many times, but yeah.
We've got
yeah.
a resident back here that's really happy about that.
yeah, so that project agreement was just executed,
Yep.
so that one will be.
Yeah, we'll start engineering this year on that.
Sure.
Yep, yeah.
What was this Adams project? Is that farther east
Hamilton west, Hamilton to the west fork is what we're thinking,
of Adams?
Adams.
Okay.
The other
I think
section
Adams,
is.
yeah, I think the other section was done from Clover Nook to Rambler.
Just a few years ago.
Yeah. Yeah, I know we did the east side.
What we did,
Hickman and Elizabeth were done,
Yeah,
but I didn't think it was very, very bad on the west side of,
East side.
It's not in
East-
terrible shape, especially relative to some of these other projects we're talking about, no doubt.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like those funds come up every year, and so we thought, let's put in for them, see if we're successful.
But
We're not-
there's
There's no big timeline.
only certain streets that it can be used for. Okay, I see.
Yep.
Yes, yeah, so we thought, we'll just try for it, and then we can try to leverage it, over the next year or two against some other funds. And then hopefully it's not as expensive as a project, if you're not waiting to get to full reconstruction, a lot of full depth, it's, more just a rehab, so if, hopefully,
Also, that is eligible for engineering. Sometimes we only have three. Use the funds for engineering and then apply in a subsequent year for construction
Right,
to
yeah.
get more money, so.
yes.
just got one question, Ross.
Mr. Reddick?
So going back to Warner Avenue project, and you were talking about the storm sewer tie-in there, because there aren't any, right, going down into Kemper. You don't foresee any issues with additional water flow from storm runoff from that side, or
Well, on
for the?
Harrison Avenue, part of that project, that was initially set up just to overlay and do the curb like the first phase, but because of the drainage issues on that, they're tough to solve unless you tear the whole street out.
Right.
So there was maybe 100-foot, 200-foot section that is going to be tore out, and we're gonna add some drainage, some catch basins to that, and then we have to take that down to Hamilton Avenue or find an outlet for it, so that's a little unusual. There are some outlets on the Werner project, but storm sewer is a component of that.
Okay,
The Madison Werner?
yes,
Okay, yeah, there will be some storm sewer with that. We did have trouble with the Madison Forest project a couple of years ago, there was no outfall.
right, right.
That was the one that was a problem.
So if we're hooking in, though, on that, will there be any, do you think there's a capacity issue, a potential capacity issue?
We don't typically change the width of the road, so theoretically, the runoff is the same. You get it a little bit, you get it to the point of connection a little more efficient.
Okay,
But we aren't increasing the impervious surface, so.
okay, all right, thank you.
Anybody else have any questions? I have one. On Harrison Avenue, one block or a half a block south of Kinney, the Harrison Avenue, there's an alley that comes out on Harrison from Hamilton Avenue, runs through to Harrison. And when you come out of that alley, you are literally 4 to 5 feet below the hump. The road, Harrison Avenue humps terribly right there. It's hard to get out of there sometimes because you don't see the cars coming. You're sitting so low. Is there any, do you know, aware of any engineering that might fix that?
I'd have to look at that. So it's a sight distance issue. You're coming out of the alley and it's tough to
Yeah,
see.
you're coming out of the alley, sitting here, and the road's up here,
Yeah.
you know.
Traffic coming from one direction that's harder to see? Traffic
Yeah, coming from the south north, it's hard to see.
Okay, we can look at that. What interesting plan pretty much match grade, so.
Okay.
There's something we can do, I would say, raising that driveway up a little bit to do a little bit more.
Yeah.
So we'd have to look at that.
Well, just take a look at it and see if it's worthwhile.
Okay.
And the other thing I wanted to say was, unfortunately dating myself, but I remember when we were arguing over 10 to 20% matching. And now we're up to 50 in some cases, so.
Yeah, and again, Mount Healthy, we've been, pretty successful putting in for 30%. There's some years where we haven't gotten it, but it's still good. But if you look at the list, and I know that Scott will look at that too, it's most communities are, putting out 50%. It's super competitive, so.
Yes, it has gotten that way,
Yeah, unfortunately.
yeah. Well, without the program, we wouldn't be able to do them, so,
Right, yeah, it is a good program for sure.
Yes.
It's local, it's just local standards, so you're not going through the federal process with all the federal strings. I know that, you'll see some of those grant funds too, and not to say that you can't ever go after those, for a big project, but these are nice because it provides, just more bang for the buck, so.
yes. Well, you've helped us a lot over the years. Redoing Hamilton Avenue this year and getting and Compton Road getting us sort of money, which nobody was even aware that was out there. And somehow we ended up with a big batch of it to do Compton Road, I guess I said. Yeah.
We'll keep trying, we appreciate, the opportunity, we really do, so, thank you.
You're welcome. Does anybody else have any questions?
So I know at the next meeting, you'll want us to, we'll be picking for the Madison Warner project, right? The
Right, so we
bid.
can enter into that contract.
And then will we also need to pass the OPWC legislation at the next meeting, or is that coming at the September?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
September.
Give it a little time. If you don't want to pass it in August, you can pass it in September, even if it doesn't meet that deadline, which it probably will, because the grants are due not due until the 26th. They give you a little grace period, but it's nice to have it just submitted.
Gotcha. So probably have that prepared for the August 19th meeting, but pick the contractor and
That's our next
pass the OPWC.
Next project?
For OPWC. And I guess we'll have this, and we'll be prepared to pick the second one.
Recommendations.
Yep.
You know, he's been working yesterday. We didn't have that prepared, so
Yep.
we'll do this, make sure everything's in order.
Yeah, the Harrison project, if you're on, is
Harrison.
Gotcha.
Also, yeah.
Are you talking about Hickman?
Yeah.
I think the street committee needs to have a meeting before that. I don't know if we want to go 2.4 million.
So you would want to break up the project, or?
Do something different on Hickman, or break up the project, or do a different street. I don't know if we can justify that. I don't know. I mean, we need to talk about it.
Okay. Well, I'll get with JMA and kind of just go over some options, and if we want to have a street committee meeting before August
Absolutely.
19th or whatever it is,
Yep.
can do that.
One of the things about Hickman is a little different. There is a lot of small sewer. Almost 20 catch basins below that would be replaced.
Needs to be replaced.
That would be replaced with a project, right?
Yeah.
Just, it's a little more unusual in some of the other streets, especially on the other side of Harrison Avenue, that just didn't have much drainage infrastructure there. This one seemed to have a lot of, some fairly large storm sewer that would stay in place. It's kind of similar to the Perry project from a few years ago. Ran into a lot of sewer on Hickman is more substantial than what we've had on recent projects.
We actually have storm sewers on Hickman.
Yeah,
I really didn't know that. There's no curbs.
It's like no street, really.
Yeah,
There's
there's
street.
no base, there's no, yeah.
It runs kind of north diagonal across the site, so it's not, there's some that are actually in here, but then they drain to these front doors.
Okay. Anybody else have any
Yeah,
questions?
I have one concerning Hickman and grant money. Can we combine sorta with the state money?
You can.
Because-
So what we would do is it's sometimes a little bit tricky, so you can, if you get the grant loan, you know, you're kind of, OPWC will not let you change that funding scenario. So you're applying for SORTA to leverage against it, so that loan. So what you would want to do more is get the SORTA grant first, and then, you know, apply for it against OPWC, or you could apply for OPWC with a cash match, which is a little risky, if you don't get the you know, and then go for SORTA to leverage. So you can leverage either one against the other.
I guess, could that save us some money? Because Hickman is one of those streets that it's right off the bus line, so, on Compton Road, so.
It's certainly something we could try for. I mean, we could, you know, if we try for OPWC and get the grant loan, it's just, they sort of will not let you use their funds to repay the loan.
Oh,
So
yes, okay.
It's, you know, yeah, it's kind of better to get the sort of funds maybe first, unless you want to apply for a cash match, which again, is something you could try for, you know, and then try to go for SORTA to use that as your cash match. So we could apply for OPWC in September. Again, I would, if you want to try for the SORTA to use it as leverage, I would apply for a cash match and not the loan component. And then try for the SORTA, because otherwise you can't try for the SORTA, if that makes sense. I can kind of lay it out for your street committee.
Yeah,
you know,
sure.
And then we can talk about options, so
Street-
that
yeah.
so that it's clear.
Yeah, because at 30%, that's, yeah, you're with engineering, you're over 700 grand, so.
Yeah, yes.
That number is.
That does include,
That
that
2.4
2.4
Includes the engineering, okay,
Inspection.
includes
okay,
design and dimension.
okay, okay.
That is everything, yes. Because they will allow us for OPWC, you know, to use that as part of the overall project, sort of will not, but with the loan component, you can.
Okay.
For OPWC, so that was the total number, yes.
720,000 at 30%.
Anybody else, council, have questions? Thank you. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Public input. Anybody here who would like to address city council?
Is it the podium you're not getting? I've got one of these guys if that's. Okay, yeah.
Imagine that. Hi, everybody. My name is Sierra George. I'm the CEO of Peachtree Advocacy. We work to alleviate barriers for youth and ones transitioning into adulthood. So I'm up here tonight to talk about a couple different things. The first being our backpack event. It's annual and it's Backpack to School with Peachtree. It'll be hosted over in Mount Healthy Park. It is going to be from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on August 16th. And what we're doing right now is soliciting donations. We're trying to get different vendors, talent, people who can come in and just make it a better event than last year. It was really nice last year. We served over 700 families. We raised over $1,000, and we gave away thousands of dollars of school supplies. And it was a 2-day event, much too long for my liking, but this year we're only doing 1 day, 3 hours, so it should be just fine. I'm excited about it. So next, I'm gonna tell you a little bit about this summer and what we're doing, and it will tie back into the backpack event. So we have been able to start a summer camp, and it's Camp Peachtree. It's been great. This is our first time ever doing it, and Keisha, 2 of her kids participated in our program. So her youngest is a part of our summer camp, and then her older child, middle child, is in our mentorship program. So the summer camp we do for our summer camp we do reading and math enrichment. We have social emotional goals that we set for them, and we talk through it. And then we also do weekly field trips. I'm really trying to get them to go to Tacoma Forum. We haven't been there yet, but we've been to the museum center. We go to the library weekly. We go swimming weekly. We've been to a couple different parks. We've been to the movies. We're supposed to go tomorrow as well. And then we have our mentorship program called Roots, and that stands for Readily Offering Opportunities to Students. And that is personal development, professional development, and then work experience. And they get their work experience by being camp counselors. So it's really cool. It all ties together. So some of you all may have seen us in the community the last couple of days. We've been walking around trying to get either vendors, donations from the different businesses in Mount Healthy. And I have to shout out Sarah real quick. She was so nice to our kids today. We came into Little Dutch, and they were so nervous. Bless their souls. They were so nervous, but she made them feel right at home. And the Little Dutch is going to be our drop-off location for if people want to drop off school supplies or anything like that. So thank you again. And I also want to thank Mayor Moody for donating to us earlier when we first started. I'm going to thank Scott for allowing us to use the space. Like, it's been I have to thank Cordell because he's my husband. But it's been so much fun, and I'm hoping that we can continue to build here in Mount Healthy. There's so much room, and we went to the We Thrive meeting today, and we see that there's a lot of room for 16 and 19-year-olds who may not be going to school or may not be working to there's room to build with them. So I'm excited to figure out how we can work with the city to tap in with those kids who may be underserved and transitional youth age. But if you all would like to donate, please do. Last year we weren't able to really get out in the community to talk to any of the businesses, so we're hoping to double our impact by doing that. And I would really, really like to see some council members there and to just get y'all involved. I think it's important. I want to get the police and fire involved, maybe get some fire trucks or police cruisers up there so that the first interaction for some of these kids with the police officer, fireman, isn't something negative. And we have so much going on, but I'm excited about it. And if y'all have any questions, all of my contact information is on this form, but if you can't donate monetarily, if you look around your house and see if you have some pencils that haven't been used, or some old folders, or even old children's book that really can go a long way for us. We're not asking for a lot, because if you donate $1, that is 2 folders. Like, that's helpful. And again, we're trying to double our impact. So I know I just said a lot, but do y'all have any questions?
Council?
Could you talk more about last year's event and some of the different people that participated and partners, and
Yes.
go into detail?
Yes. So we had Catherine Cup come in, and she did face painting for us. We had the magician. I can't remember his name. We had him come in for one day. Yes. He was really good. The kids loved him. And also, sorry, I forgot to mention for this year that we're collaborating with Love in Action. which is the nonprofit under the Emmanuel Church, and as well as Gear Up. So those are two really good collaborators that we'll have. Last year, we also had the library come out. We had a few different resources. We were able to get period products from Girls Health Period, and the girls were acting so weird about it, but we were able to get rid of all of them. A lot of the transitional age youth ended up taking them, so that was really nice. We had food trucks, we had vendors. It was really a good time. It was an exhausting 2 days, but it was like, I'd do it again like that every time if it's gonna mean impacting that many families over a day or two. So this time we're hoping, because it's gonna be a shorter time, the way that we promote has to be a little bit more than we did last year. And we have to go down some avenues that we haven't done yet, but I'm hopeful that in that 3 hours, we can reach more than 750 families, which is what we did last year.
That's good.
Okay.
Where'd you say you were holding this again?
It is in Mount Healthy Park.
Healthy Park.
Yes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. George, thank you very much. Anybody else who would like to address City Council tonight? Okay. Then we move on to our committee and commissions reports. Beautification.
I don't
Ms.
have a report.
Lingo. Let me say your name first.
I thought you maybe forgot it.
Economic Development, Mr. Young.
I got a couple things. Something that goes along with economic development is code enforcement. So one thing that we've noticed around town is, especially on Hamilton Avenue, is businesses that have opened up that are probably not registered with the city. So we are working on getting them registered and making sure they meet the requirements of that district. So we're working on doing that. So if you're on Hamilton Avenue or anywhere, let us know your existence. So, but in working with that, we're working with, we're working with our code to get up that, to get out there and get these get them registered, and also with the fire department to get inspections done and getting into these businesses. So, a lot of the businesses still need to be inspected. We need to get our, get the inspections done there and get caught up with all of our inspections, because that's important. It goes different, it's kind of multifold with the fire inspections, because as we go through grant money and different things like that in our business district, we need to make sure our businesses are up to code and up to things. So that does come into effect with, if they're eligible for different things. So we want to make sure that they are up to code with everything they do. So really, that's about all I have right now. I got a lot going on, but nothing I'm ready to spill the beans on yet.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Young.
All right.
Finance, Mr. Parsons.
Yeah, the Finance Committee meeting met right before this meeting, and that's why we were late. But we went over the revenues and the expenses through June, had some questions on why some things seemed to be a little out of balance, but everything was explained, and we seemed to be on track. Some of the revenues are higher than expected, some of the expenses are higher than expected, but they've been explained, and looks like we'll be okay with the budget this year.
Thank you, sir. Questions? Okay, library, Ms. Dosa.
Good evening, everyone. I have nothing new to report for the library, other than I will be meeting with the new library manager this week, and we are going to go over just different things that she has concerns about. She was supposed to be here tonight, but that's why I really didn't have a report. It was kind of like an introduction of her to you, but I will follow up with her, and we'll have more to report at our next meeting. Can I go?
Yeah.
Parks and Commission. We had a meeting prior to council today, and we went over a lot of different things, and I'll try to go through this quickly, but we did talk about the concert series that's still going on, and discussed things that we could do better in terms of possibly having a update kind of protocol for what to do for the concerts, like, have water ready for the musicians, and just steps that we take for the prior to the concerts and after, just so that everybody's on the same, wavelength in terms of things that we need to do. We talked about looking into new food trucks and different things, not necessarily always having food, but maybe desserts or ice creams or things like that going forward for next year, and just looked at the lineup in general and just starting to plan for upcoming concert series for next year. If anyone's interested, I still have the August 22nd date open. If not, I will take care of that, if anyone would like to sign up for that date. We talked about upcoming things that we would like to do for the park. In terms of, mark your calendars, we're going to have on August 1st, a pool party in the park prior to the concert. That will start at 5:30. There'll be more details to follow, but it'll be a little bit like it was last year, where we had refreshments in the pool prior to the party. Pool closed down a little bit early, and then we'll have the pool party, and then invite people to join the concert that is coming after. And that's the night for the Jesse Johnson concert. Jay Jesse, who is a Johnson, who is a Mount Healthian. I like to say that, Mount Healthian. But anyway, August 1st, we'll have the pool party. We have a lot of things that are upcoming for the park. So we have as Sierra kindly reminded us, we have the backpack event on the 16th. We are working, we also have the Shakespeare in the Park for August 30th. We're working on upcoming events that you'll get more details later about, but we're looking into a paint night in the park, in the community room. We're also looking into having other events in the park. Looking forward to planning things for next year, getting on track in terms of another Safety and Awareness Day, looking ahead in terms of planning for Christmas in Mount Healthy, looking towards the Mulberry Festival next year, and getting all those different things on the calendar for the upcoming year, including a Juneteenth celebration and other things of that nature. So we'll have more details for those to follow. Another thing that I wanted to bring to your attention is we were having some, I think that Joe might mention it later, but some issues with the pool. And one of the things we discussed was making sure that we had, again, a more police presence, and having, make sure that when people want to utilize the pool, especially daycares or other subsidiaries, that we let them know prior to the usage that these are the rules for the pool. These are, the expectations and the rules and et cetera. And possibly we looked at having a letter that goes out to them, just reminding them of that, and having someone have a conversation with them prior to them bringing their day camps or whatever to the pool, to alleviate having issues, because it becomes not only a liability but a city, but also a safety issue. You want the children to be able to use the parks and using the pools and be safe, and to use them safely, and to respect the people that are working there, and respect the people that are bringing them there, and the people of the community that are using the pool. We talked about that, and just looking forward to bringing more things to Mount Healthy, to the city park, and using it for its potential. And that is all I have.
Thank you very much.
Any questions? I'm sorry.
Questions for Ms. Dosa?
I have a comment about the concerts. I don't believe the sponsor should be responsible for any water for the performers. That's I know that's been done years ago, and the performers bring their own drinks, and they have what they need. I mean, we had a problem last week with it, and I took care of that. Took a whole bunch up there, and they took 2 bottles, and they had their own. It's not in the contract that we write with them, and they know they're working outside, and they know that it's going to be hot, and they bring what they need. So that's my opinion.
Well, here's my thought on that. It doesn't necessarily have to be in the contract just to have niceties. So just having water for someone that's going to be at the park and having a concert is not a hardship. But if it becomes that, I don't think it's that huge of a hardship to offer them water. If they have their own, great, it's not an issue. But I just don't think personally that it's that big of a deal to
Most of them
offer
don't bring
water.
their own water, though.
I'm sorry?
Most of them don't bring their own water, because most of them have already been here in the past that we've always had the water, so, you know.
Well, then the city should provide the water.
Well,
and
they do.
Where is it? I couldn't
Well,
find any last week.
Right, that's why we had you check, because it was probably done and get the credit card or whatever, or Melanie said she'd get it or whatever. And if it's a problem, I can get it every week. It's, and ice, it's not a problem.
Well, if we had it in the community room, I mean, the sponsor has a key for the community room. There's There might be ice in there. There was ice in there.
Yeah, we have plenty of ice.
There's no
It's just-
cooler, there was no water anywhere.
I provided the cooler and I guess it's gone, because I donated a cooler.
Right.
Where's the cooler?
It was in the building in back of the stage. It was a brown and tan
It
cooler.
was there when I did the
Yeah.
concert.
Yeah.
There
Oh, a
and-
small one?
Uh-huh.
Okay, that was there, yeah.
Yeah.
Not on wheels or anything.
No, no,
No,
no.
no, they
It
just,
doesn't need to be on wheels.
they just leave the door open basically and go back in, and if you need to restock it, they just restock it. But usually whatever's in there is enough for the night, because it's only a 2-hour gig, so.
And where's the water?
It should have been in that room.
It was in that room when I did it.
There's none there now.
Okay, so then we obviously run out since the beginning of the concert series has started. So we'll just have to make sure, that's what I'm talking about. Like, we need to have a protocol in place. If we're gonna have to provide them water, then we will have water and all that set up, or make sure that we have it prior to the concert
Yeah,
so
we
that it's
had a
not.
couple cases. We obviously went through it, so we'll just go get a couple more cases and.
So that is not, an
So
issue
it's
for the person
in
that's
there.
doing it.
Right. Yeah, somebody can pick that up.
I personally think it's just a nicety, a courtesy. I mean, I'm sorry that we didn't have water in there last week, but I thank you for being in charge of it and making sure that they did.
Okay. Safety, Mr. Redding.
Yeah, I got a few safety topics. We had our safety committee meeting on July 9th, discussed all the liquor establishments, the bars, and things seem to be going okay now. Since the end of June, things are actually really going well. So that's good news. Police are on it and working in conjunction with the fire department on some of the issues. We had 3 issues with D&Q Event Center up here on Hamilton Avenue. There were teen events that were, from all appearances, looked like they were well over the occupancy level. And then there was one issue in particular that there was an assault on an officer, and I think I mentioned that maybe at the last council meeting, but we're working through those and reaching out to D&Q to make sure that we get all those resolved. Again, Keisha spoke about this just a little bit ago about at the city pool. We had an issue with a couple of the day camps. It was taken care of immediately, and there are some changes for the remainder of the year. And then Justin and Mike will be looking at some updating policies for 2026 at the pool. But I did request from, and you'll see this in the police report, or the monthly police report, I did request that the police department and the fire department, if they could, just, they have a couple of minutes just to swing by the pool during the day while they're doing their rounds. Would greatly appreciate it, because, when they see that uniform, the kids tend to behave themselves, the ones that don't behave. And this was the only time I believe we've had this issue this year, so I don't think it's any more than a one-time thing. So that's the good part of the news. So so let's see. Chief Lawson is here tonight for the fire department. I think he's going to talk about inspections and some other things, some other good news. And then let's see, flock. We have a couple of flock cameras that are going to be changing location, but not a big location. I'll just put it that way. We had one that was on a premise that I guess didn't appreciate the fact that it was there. So that flock camera is going to be moved on it'll be moved further out on the public access, our right of way. I'll put it our pole. So so we'll be able to continue to use the flock cameras. So other than that, I have nothing else.
Thank you, Mr. Redding. Questions? Okay, moving on, Mr. George for the schools.
I would like to congratulate Dr. Sarah Wilson, who was recently appointed to be the new superintendent of Mount Healthy City Schools. And then I would also like to extend a huge thank you to David Montgomery, Mount Healthy Hall of Famer and current running back for the Detroit Lions, who this past weekend hosted his annual football camp for the youth at Mount Healthy High School, where he gave out over 250 backpacks, T-shirts, and provided free lunches to the kids as well, in addition to just having a whole day's worth of athletic programming. So he does that every year, and that that brings a lot of great attention to the city and the school district. So I just wanted to say thank you to him for that. That's all I have.
Thank you. Questions? The evening that Mr. Montgomery come up to city council showed what kind of classy young man he was.
Yeah, he's
And his parents are the same way, so apple doesn't fall far from the tree.
That's right.
Okay, streets, Ms. Rissel.
Well, I don't have a lot, other than I've seen a lot of repair work from Justin. I think he's utilizing that equipment well, especially when it's near my street. So that's a big plus. And I would like to call a street committee meeting at 6 o'clock before the next council meeting on August 19th. Thank you, Bob.
Questions?
all.
Was that everything, Peggy?
Yes.
Let's see, we
All right,
do.
moving on down then, the mayor's report, Ms. Moody.
Wait a
I
minute.
was just going to say, we do have the safety committee meeting for August 19th. I mean, it's fine to do them both at the same time, but just wanted to say that's when we're going to have the fire department assessment presented by the Chiefs Association. So I guess just know they'll be going on at the same time.
Oh, I guess, I don't know. Do you
I mean, just, I didn't know if there was people on
kind
both.
of, yeah, kind of the same.
Yeah, let's,
Can
I mean,
have
you
your
could do
meeting at
one
different
at,
time?
it's at 6 if you want to do one at 5. I mean, I don't know if that works with people's schedules or a different day.
Can do a
And
5 if anybody else.
I
We're
can
just
do
having
that.
the same time.
5 o'clock?
Yeah, 5 and then 6 and then, yeah, that's fine. Thank you.
Okay, Mayor, you're on.
Okay, a few things. I'd like to talk a little bit about an opening of an art gallery that happened here in Mount Healthy. I'd like to acknowledge Mr. Bauer for the arrangement of how that came about. I know that Joe and Paul were there that night, and I think we were all pretty amazed at the quality of artwork and the people who attended. There were many people attending, and one person I kind of recognized, and I wasn't sure, so I went up to introduce myself. It was Charlie Lucan, used to be mayor of Cincinnati, and he buys a lot of artwork from T.J. Smith, who lives right outside of the city limits, who now has that art gallery. There'll be another called Second Look this Friday, so if you'd like to go up to see the artwork, I think you'll be pretty astounded at the quality there, between 5:30 and 7:30. And she will be in August. Her next showing will be black and white photography. She's entertaining, trying to get local people who have great art ability to put their art up there for sale. And I think, Mr. Redding, I think there was somebody you sent her way, somebody with photography?
Not that I recall. I know, I thought her next show, I think this is what
Yeah,
we
it
were talking
is,
about. Her
but
next
somebody in
show-
the community wanted to see what she thought of his photography, and she was like, this is wonderful, this is outstanding, you need to put it into the show. So it's giving a lot of people opportunity, plus it is just a wonderful display of local art, and having an art gallery here in town is really, I mean, people came from all over. They wanted to know where was a good restaurant in town to eat at afterwards. I said, well, we have a diner named it's Brotherton's is a diner, but I was totally taken back by how many people were there. So there'll be a second look this Friday. Again, I want to thank Mr. Bauer for making the arrangements. They redid the inside of this horribly looking storefront that we had, and it's just amazing right now. And then we had the outside painted, and it's bringing a great look to our city right now. Okay, I sent a letter of support for the Ohio Historic Preservation Pipeline Initiative Grant. We have a person that we've been working with through the county that is applied for seeing if we can get some money for tax credit incentive for development, and the availability of historic preservation incentives that we'll be looking at, especially for the main theater. So we'll see if something comes of that. Also sent a letter of support for the COPS grant for the our police department. I'd like to also just say that I'd like to recognize our city council for all the extra work you do above and beyond just coming to meetings. I know a lot of you have full-time jobs, and even some of us that are retired, we have lives too. But the amount of work and time that you put into making this a better community is very gratifying to me. And Scott schedules meetings and wants to include council members. And I feel that, I'm hoping that our three departments, Public Works, Police, and Fire, feel that we are really supporting them with the work that we're trying to do. I don't know that Paul brought up code enforcement. You know, we're trying to make this a community and a city that is safe for people to live here, is a place where people want to come visit, a place where people want to live. And it takes all of the departments plus all of us to support what we're trying to do here. And right now, code enforcement seems to be a big piece. Also, just trying to explain to people that when you want to come in here and have a business, there are certain expectations that you need to do as far as registering your business so that we can help promote your business. And hopefully, you're going to be in a building where there's a landlord that owns the building that takes that responsibility to give you a safe place and a good place for you to rent, because that's another issue we're having. People that own buildings here in town, and it's just not here, that do not have the responsibility to maintain and upkeep these buildings. And it's not fair to the people that are small business owners that are really trying to make it here in town. Plus, we have some good businesses here that we want to support. And with the facade improvement grant money that we've gotten from the county, and the county's been very supportive with us, they really do appreciate the work that our city manager's doing and the work that we're all doing in order to show that we're trying to make a difference here in Mount Healthy. And in Hamilton County, it's not all about the city of Cincinnati. When you have little cities like this in the county, as we become better, the county becomes better. And it becomes a good place for people to buy their first-time homes, for people to be able to afford an apartment, that we're going to have a major bus line improvement here in the next couple of years. And so it's a place where it's important for us to move forward, and we are going to move forward. We are moving forward, and we need everybody to be on board with us. And I just want to say that in other cities where council people can fight, hold politics in front instead of their community in front, I just applaud all of you for the work that you do, because you're at concerts. You might be getting water you don't want to get. We're going to solve that problem. But I get what you're saying, Bob. And you know, we are sometimes are like, oh my gosh, why am I doing this? Or, oh my gosh, I really didn't want to do this. Or, I'm so glad I did this. Our July 3rd event, I mean, there were other big communities around here that unfortunately had some bad things happening. We had a great event July 3rd. We all worked hard. I mean, selling the beer and the seltzer and making sure things were happening. And it was a really great event. The fireworks were great. The band, it was just a really good time for everybody to be here. And I really do want to celebrate what we have. We've got the Tree Commission here tonight. We've got legislation. There's a lot of good things happening, but there's a lot of things that are not good that are happening, and we're going to make sure that we show that the people that live here, and all of us live here, want to live and provide for everybody in this community a safe and good place to live. So I just want to thank everyone that's been working hard at this. I know we're struggling at some point in some areas. I know we've got this. I brought this because I know the the fire chief was here tonight, this thing is huge. I mean, I'm like, whoa. And I know there's probably a lot in here that we can't accomplish, but this is really going to be important for us to make sure that we take care of what we need to take care of our departments and be supportive. So I just want to thank everybody.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Jenny. Questions?
I got one comment. A joke was the other night, Jenny Mayer is a friend of my family also, and the joke was with my parents was, oh, you talk to the mayor, what, once a week? And the joke was, no, probably multiple times a day. I think we set a record yesterday. We kind of joked about that. You know, she's been mayor for 6 months. She's been on council for years. But being with her almost on a daily basis, I talk to her. And in 6 months, the change that I feel that things have changed in this city is just phenomenal. You really feel it. I feel her energy when I'm with her. We went to Gold Star. I was tired. We were walking the streets. We were dealing with the facade up there at the studio, the art studio. I was like, I'm just gonna walk up Gold Star and get something to eat. I called her for something, or she called me, and so she came up, and then next thing you know, we're talking to the son. I can't think of his name.
The owner of Gold Star.
Of Gold Star, you know, because they've been out for a while because there were some health issues there. Ferris. He's been out with his daughters, had some health issues, and we just hit that connection right away. And she just has this knack for just attracting people, and it's been very refreshing, and it's been great. I probably talked to her more than I talked to anybody in my family, in a good way. But I really feel like we've gotten a lot of things done, and I'm looking forward to doing more things. So thank you for.
Well, thanks. I
actually wrote this, like, you're not going to believe this. If you look at here, I wrote this 3 weeks ago that I wanted to say during council.
Well, and I'll tell you, and when he talks to me, or Joe does, or any of you, I'm like, hey, Scott, I'll text him and say, guess what? I just talked to Paul, or I just talked to Joe, or I just talked to give Scott a heads up. And I will tell you, as a city manager, he is open to a lot of conversation and dialogue that makes it easy for all of us to be enthusiastic and to work hard.
And
so.
I actually mentioned him in my little thing here too, so I wasn't going to leave you out. So
How do we feel good about everybody? I guess.
I didn't mention you, sorry.
Oh, man. Thank you.
I'll second that.
So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, moving on then to Mr. Scott Bauer, the city manager's report.
Let's see here. Leave any fire department updates to the chief here. Police department, we've submitted for the cops grant for 2 officers. Hopefully we'll hear back in maybe even the next month. We've received some communication from where we applied with the grant that kind of gives us excitement that maybe they're requesting more information because we're going to get it. But so hopes are high for that. Road work here, we kind of went through all that. JMA, the plan still is to mock up Hickman so that we can walk out and kind of see how narrow it is going to be. I mean, I know Madison was a little surprising how narrow that ended up being with the Forest Madison project, so the plan still is to do that. Let's see, code enforcement here. Letters went out to, I believe, every single property that borders an alley that has growth on it. So the hope is that everyone will cut back on the alleys, that we can actually drive vehicles down there more easily. And then kind of once we get that done, maybe we can start looking at spending some of our gas tax money on repaving some of the alleys, but we'll have to kind of look at that. First will be the code enforcement portion of it. Let's see here. Joe mentioned D&Q. They were cited for 2 of those events. The third one I know we caught before it happened. There was a gathering of kids that was noticed, and we broke it up before they had it, so that was good. But we're definitely working with the owner and the operator to let them know that that's not a permitted use of the facilities. Facade improvement program updates here. So the painting should begin August 1st on the 3 buildings. The paperwork's been signed, the deposit's been made. The masonry work is expected within the next 2 to 6 weeks as well. Ethos, I guess I'll second everything the mayor said about Ethos. If you can walk by, we did a facade upgrade on that as well, and you can see all the artwork in there. It's a great way that it's laid out. You can see everything just walking through. They really did a great job of, they did all the interior work themselves, the painting and the hanging of the lighting and everything. It really does look great in there, so definitely check it out. Just one more, hopefully everyone's noticed everything getting ripped out of there. That'll get cleaned out here hopefully in the next week or two. They've got the garage door open so you can kind of see in there. They've already removed the bar. I've seen them carrying stuff out of the basement. So once we kind of get everything out of there, we can kind of reset things and see what we want to do with the place. The $250,000 that was applied for have been given every indication that we're going to get it. Again, I hate to say that we're going to get it until I sign any paperwork, but the expectation is that $250,000 in facade improvement, in addition to what we've already been given, is should be coming down the pipe here pretty soon. There's also 2 more facade grants that were opened up. One the city can apply for, and another owners can apply for. So projects between $5,000 and $25,000. If you are a business owner or know someone that has a business, you can apply for it. Lighting, awnings, painting, anything like that can be applied for. Would be happy to help fill out the application as well. I think that's it for facade improvement. And the grant typically opens up in December or January, so hopefully we'll even be getting into a 3rd round of facade improvement money here coming up. Let's see, July 3rd, I'll just second everything everyone already said. It was a great event. Weather was great, especially remembering last year. I was convinced coming into work July 3rd last year that we were going to have to cancel it, but glad we didn't. But the weather was perfect this year, so thought it was an amazing event. I've sent an email out to a few people, but wanted to let everyone know 7321 Forest, there is a property that was demolished. They're actually going to build a new house on that lot. I can share the construction with anybody that's interested, so just kind of cool that it's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with an attached garage that will be built probably in the next year on Forest Avenue, so that's exciting. One other thing I wanted to mention, so the Red Line property, there's still a concrete pad in the back of it that is usable. It attaches to the alley. The owner of the building next door, the Foot Care place, it's got 2 units. One is a Foot Care, and the other is empty at the moment. They want to put in a TSA background check place, and they need more parking than what is available. So they have reached out asking about our concrete pad. I kind of used the Holzhauser's agreement that we had years back. We paid $2,500 to Holzhauser's to make that public parking by where the post office is back in 2008, and that was 18 spots, $2,500 a year. So I guess our law director recommended, since this is a financial contract, that I at least bring it to council to make sure people were okay that we allow the business to park. They would be responsible for plowing, for signage, for policing it if they feel like there's someone trespassing or using it improperly. Right now it's just sitting there vacant. No one's using it, or at least no one's using it appropriately. So I guess wanted to see if people would be okay with allowing them to. Seems like it's a legitimate business. They'd be they'd have a formal lease with the owner. We'd build into the contract that it would only be used for these 2 units. Just wanted to see if that was okay with council. I mean, I was looking at maybe $1,200 for the year. I mean, they're probably only going to get 4 spots out of this. Is that something that we'd want to be okay with? They'd be normal cars, normal parking situation. Yeah. I only had one contract to base it off of. So I'm open to suggestions.
This is the concrete floor of the old garage.
They actually put a concrete pad for parking back there, the previous owner. It's nice. Agreed.
So,
You think $5,000?
We have no intention of selling the property or no intention of doing anything with it?
That'd be a question for everybody. Right now, it was just to remove blight.
If it's just gonna sit there vacant, sure,
Yeah,
we'll rent
yeah.
it to them.
Yeah.
Right, because the space that they would be renting is less than 900 square feet, and it's going for almost $1,400 a month.
The unit, yeah.
so how much was it again? $100 a month per spot?
I just,
My suggestion.
Okay.
yeah, I mean, I just wrote down that in 2008, we had 18 spots that we leased from Holzhauser's for $2,500. I mean, it's 2008. Again,
Yeah.
I'm just, these are just back of the napkin
Yeah.
numbers. I just had $1,200 for 4 spots. I'm perfectly happy.
For the year?
For a year. And we
Oh,
only do 1 year at a time in case it ever were to be sold or.
That's $1,200
developed.
more than we are getting. So, and the other thing too is that some of the intangibles here is one, we have a lot of public parking
up in the core business area. And if this is something we can do for somebody that's doing business here, I don't have a problem with $1,200. I mean, again, it's $1,200 more than we're getting, and I don't seriously have a problem with the $1,200.
I agree.
And it'd be for a year. We could revisit it after a year if we get some additional comps and wanted to, if it was just way below
Absolutely.
market rate. But, again, I didn't know how long this property would, who knows when that would be developed.
And we're doing it on a short-term lease, right?
Yeah,
1
just,
year
I would
or
do for
something?
12 months. I
Yeah,
figured,
Yeah,
Yep.
seriously, I don't have a problem with the $1,200, like I said. It's-
Sounds good.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Go for it.
Sounds good. I will let him know. That is all that I have. Yeah, all that I have. I did notice on my grants, I don't know how, this is the one grant we're most excited about, but I've left off the fire engine grant on my list. I'll add that, but Chief will talk about it more, but
That's why I didn't bring it up in my report.
you got rejected last
I
year,
didn't
so
want to steal his thunder.
I took it off last year, we were rejected, and then I forgot to put it back on when we resubmitted, so. But that's all that I have.
Okay, let's move on to the fire department. Chief Steve Lawson.
So in front of you, you guys should have the April through June EMS report. So between the 3 months, we did 499 EMS runs, and we did 269 transports. You'll see down here on the mutual aid given, so that would be where we go in to provide EMS service to our mutual aid people. Was 14, where we received 42. So we'll keep an eye on that and see what we can do to try to correct that. Then on the fire reports, we did 96 fire incidences where we responded to, I should say, with 7 building fires, and none of them were in our district, which is good. But, when we do have a lot of these runs here, we do rely on our mutual aid departments to come in and help us out as well. So from January to June, we did 50 fire inspections. And as we have more inspectors come on, that will increase. We just hired one of our full-time guys that came on as a fire inspector, so that'll help us out. And I think there's 200, I didn't bring that paper with me, there's over 200 businesses in Mount Healthy that we would go in and inspect. We're trying to do that per year, but we'll see how that pans out. We may have to break it up some, but as soon as we get this year through, we'll revisit that. Training. So we do hands-on training and we do online training. This gives us our training that we have to have in order to recertify with our fire cards, our EMS cards, our medic card, our fire instructor card, our fire inspector card. So what I'm talking about tonight is just the online, or is just the fire and EMS. So we have a total of 24 members, and we had 21 members from January to Looks like he did this up to July 15th. Each person did 13 hours of hands-on, which comes up to 273 total hours if you group everybody together. Then our online, once again, we have 24 members. We had 17 that completed the online for a total of, each person can get up to 13 and a half hours. We did 229 and a half hours for online training. As far as the fire truck grant, we received good news from our grant writer, the company that we hired to help Captain Peace write the grant. So we all need to give a big pat on the back for Captain Peace, because he worked hard on this grant, and I think he did a fantastic job. So we received a email from FEMA wanting to know how much money we gave to the grant writers. And the person that we used for the grant writer said, hey, this is a really good sign that you guys are going to receive this money. We have not officially been notified by FEMA that we have received it. We haven't gotten the congratulations letter, but he's saying that that's a really good sign that chances are that we will be getting the grant. One other thing, we put in for a EMS grant, and we received $2,700 that we can purchase EMS equipment. There is only certain equipment that we can purchase, and that is something that the Ohio EMS board says we can spend. Joe, you have any questions on some of the inspections?
No, I was just, so I did notice that inspections have really ticked up this year, 2025, which again alludes to all the firefighters that are, and EMS personnel
Yes.
that are qualified. So that's greatly appreciated. And then I did notice the only other thing was there was like, what, 230 non-transports. So I was just wondering, and you can supply this at a later date, or maybe the next report is, how many of those are multiple times?
Yes, we do have some residents that they're kind of stuck in a loop, and we're stuck in that loop with them. They make too much money for them to get aid to help them go to a nursing home or whatever. But they don't make enough money for them to go to a nursing home. So we're kind of stuck in that loop. We're working with them, trying to figure out, where we can take care of them. But sometimes we're just going to run into those problems. A lot of our EMS calls, we'll get called for sick people. You can see here 97 sick people. A lot of those, they want somebody to come into their house and say, we checked you out, your blood pressure's good, your blood sugar's good. We do full vitals on them and say, we can take you to the hospital if you want to, but that's up to you. And they're just grateful that we came out and took care of them, and we get a refusal when we come back to the station.
Yep. Okay. Great. No, thank you. And I failed to mention in my safety report to both you and Chief Dietersheimer Our July 3rd event, right, at the fireworks and that, wonderfully safe, and it has been that way for years, and the fire department and the police department definitely deserve kudos for that.
Thank you.
Both the fireworks side and the public safety side, so thank you very much.
Questions for the chief? Mayor?
So tell me, so not everybody on the fire department can do inspections, only those that are qualified?
Yeah, those that have, sooner or later, we will have all full-time firefighters as fire inspectors.
And how long does that take?
That takes, well, right now, we got to get these guys through medic school. So we have 4 of them going through medic school. Medic school is one of the hardest subjects that
Okay,
they
so
have
you
to go
have 4.
through. Once they get through that,
Yeah.
then, which is a year, then they will immediately get into a fire inspector school or class. And that is 2 months?
So how many do we have now as fire inspectors?
We have 6.
And are all our captains fire inspectors?
Yes.
How come there's a discrepancy within the captains on how many fire inspections are being? There's a big
One,
discrepancy.
yeah, one, talking to him, a lot of his businesses are closed.
Well, we got other
We're
ones that
finding
are
them out. Yeah, but they're assigned inspections
Yeah, but-
to do.
I'm just trying to wrap my mind around it, and you know, and I don't. But when we've got full-time firefighters.
Yeah.
And I know we have 200 businesses, but when you break that down as like 40 weeks out of a year, so if you do 5 a week, you're at 200.
Right, well, we really can't do that. Right now, we gave them 3 fire inspections to do a month. And we started that.
That doesn't seem
Yeah.
like a lot.
But, so you do a fire inspection, all right, then you give them, sometimes we give them 30 days to fix stuff.
Right.
So then we have to come back and do
Sure.
a re-inspection. So sometimes that,
So
just,
then that's 6.
that's,
So if you go 3, did you say 3 in a month?
yeah.
So if you go 3 in a month.
But
you
also
have-
remember that they work every 3rd day, too.
Sure, yeah.
You know, so,
I'm just trying to get a handle on it because we're not that big of a city. And we've passed a fire levy and we're paying a lot of money for full-time
Oh, yes,
firefighters.
yes.
And I get all the training. They got a lot of training to go through, and I get that. And I get all of that. But I'm just trying to wrap my mind around fire inspections because of what I see on inspections, there's a discrepancy. Some people are doing a lot of them.
Yeah.
And others are not hardly doing any.
yeah, we got Captain Peace, he's in charge of inspections. So he's done more,
Well, I don't want to bring up names,
Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
can see.
Yeah.
I'm just asking.
so, yeah, and we're working with that individual,
Sure.
you know, to make sure that, yeah,
They up their.
we're doing evaluations right now.
Good.
And it's the first time that, yeah, one of the things we've never done, that I've been here for 40 years this year, and never once have I got an evaluation from a city manager, from former chiefs. And one of the things that were brought up in the fire assessment was that we start doing
Absolutely.
evaluations. So we are doing evaluations twice a year. And I'm working on the captains right now. The captains are working on their
Sure.
the full-time people and their part-time people.
We
And
all want to help you do the job that
Mm-hmm.
needs to be done. So I know we're going to be meeting, and you've got that we paid money to have somebody come in. So it's all going to,
Yeah.
it's all going to get good.
and I also
Gotta get
gave, I gave Scott a report of all those 42. And a lot of those recommendations, we've already started, and some of them that we have already completed.
Oh, great.
Now, there are some that, you know, I'm gonna have to work with Scott
Sure.
because it's gonna cost a lot of money,
Sure.
you know, for some of the stuff. But I'd say 90% of this stuff is in progress or completed.
Good. You feel good about it, don't you?
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
because it's supporting for you, that's for
Yes.
sure. We want to support you.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Am I good here? Do you have to come up?
Yeah, come up to this.
Hi, my name's Mara Harbrink. I live at 1977 Adams Road. All right, I understand that the commercial fire inspections are going to be the commercial property. However, a lot of our commercial buildings are attached to residential. So I particularly know of a property that apparently just passed fire inspection where the rear exit door from the apartments above are padlock closed.
Okay.
I don't understand how that can pass fire inspection.
When they did that fire inspection, I don't know if they went up to the second floor.
I mean, you
To-
can
to-
see it from the exterior,
Yeah.
and that's obviously a huge fire hazard if you're literally stopping people from being able to exit 50% of
Now
the
that's-
property.
So did you buy the building or are you?
Not yet.
Going, okay. Well, speak to me afterwards and we could get that resolved.
Chief, one quick question. You're talking about this funding that you might be getting, the grant money. What is that for? You've talked about a couple different grants.
To purchase the pumper, the fire truck.
Okay.
So right now, a fire truck is about $900,000. If we get the grant, and we pay up front, we will get a 10% discount, which brings it down to just below $800,000. And we are responsible for 5% of that grant money that we are receiving. So it is, I'm hoping that we get this grant.
How much?
About a $900,000, a brand-new fire truck is $900,000 to $1 million. Back in 2020, we looked at that today. Scott, was it?
Like 400 or 500, I think.
Yeah, I think it was $500,000 back in 2020.
Wow.
So they have gone up in price, and there's a 3-year wait. The other thing we need to look into is replacing our 16-year-old or 15-year-old squad that was remounted, and we've had nothing but issues with that ambulance. That's why we bought the North Cottage Hill ambulance, because we were having so much problems with ours. So that's also a 3-year waiting period to build a new ambulance. So it's not cheap, but one of the things is we can keep our fire trucks for 25 years, where you get into police cars and that, they wear out a lot sooner. And we also take really good care of our fire equipment, our fire trucks, to where we get compliments from other fire departments and people that come in and visit. But the fire trucks just sooner or later they get wore out, and the one that we're going to replace it's 37 years old, and our newest one is 27 years old.
Well, I sure wish you the best of luck, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, everybody, questions?
I was just going to add, for fire inspections, I hit my 3-year anniversary first of this month, and just the more that I see some of the issues that we have with violations, it really is the fire inspections that instigates, all the information we want to get about businesses to make sure that they're operating properly and safely. I mean, it comes from the fire inspection. So I just want people to know that we do take it serious, and the levy that was passed, I mean, it can, even when you identify a business that you know is having issues, it can still be incredibly frustrating. I mean, it's like road work. You get the
Can I
money,
add
and it's
on
like
to
2
that?
years later before they even break ground. I mean, it can just take forever to get through the process. We are working through the process with a lot of these businesses, and I mean, I can definitely see it, working with Gordon a lot. Talk with other jurisdictions, they agree. I mean, it's fire inspections that get you in the door, get you the information that you want, and just make sure people are doing things properly. So we're making progress. But
Something additional to add to that is, so one of the things that, as the fire inspections, we work closely with the building department. And one of the things that the building department wants us to do is we go into a business, we're going to make sure that they have a certificate of occupancy. And it has to be a current occupancy. So you have for example, you have a shoe store that's been in there for a couple years. They move out. Now another shoe store comes in. That new shoe store needs to come up here, pay the fee to get a new certificate of occupancy. So that's something that we will start doing as we do our inspections. And I think once we get through all the businesses, we can start having a little bit better control of the businesses and making sure that they're safe. That's our primary job, is life safety.
Yeah, once we can make a couple rounds, and especially once we get with the owners, not necessarily the operators, but the owners of the buildings, and let them know the kinds of businesses that are allowed to be operated, that's part of the problem too. Speaking with Gordon, I mean, it's almost kind of unbelievable, but he said in Harrison, I mean, it's just kind of known that, I asked him, how do you police it out there to know where people are? And he said they've just let everyone know that you basically have to come to the planning. They make everyone come to the planning commission. Every new business has to come and present what they're going to do, get their certificate of occupancy. I mean, it's just, somehow they've just established that process. I mean, I think we can get there, especially once, again, like I said, once we get through a couple rounds here and just doing a better, I know we send welcome letters to people who buy a home in town, but I think we can do better about just advertising. I mean, we passed the new code in 2021, I think, or 22. I mean, I don't know that we've really done much to, some people generally don't know what is allowed or not, and I think that's kind of on us to advertise it. So some of it's working with fire and with Gordon, the building department, and just making sure people know what's allowed in town. So
Yeah, it's one of the things, Gordon and Captain Peace have been meeting, on a regular basis and getting this done. So they're, the other thing I gotta give Scott a lot of praise is he is the first city manager that actually has department head meetings with all the department people. Every week I sit down with him, so do the other department head, and go over what's going on in our individual department. And I think with him doing that, as far as the department heads, it has reduced a lot of angst amongst the departments. And I think that is really important. So I just want to make sure you guys, I think all the department heads appreciate that.
Okay, thank you, Chief.
I got one question. On your reports, we have hotspots that the police have, our Clovernick Avenue, our apartments and things. Can we get a report on those too, so we know how much of our resources are going to the same places that the police are going.
Okay. Now, I can't, it would have to be like that block.
That's fine. Like, we were down at Clovernook Avenue, or we're down at, you know, Compton Groves or Lake of the Woods, you know, the bars. You know, these are places that the police are going on a regular basis, some of them. But we kind of want to know what our resources, if all of our resources going there. You know, EMS might not be going there, or fire might not be going there, but we kind of like to know that to see which, you know, if there's drains on us on that way also.
Anything else, council? Okay, let's move on then to our ordinances and resolutions. We have one resolution for a first reading. That is resolution number 25-1233. A resolution authorizing the city manager to submit an application to receive the urban canopy restoration grant to execute any contract or documents as required.
So this is basically the same as 2 years ago when we got the initial grant, and that was for about $25,000. We're going for $100,000. It's a 100% grant. There's no expectation of matching. I don't know, Dwight, do you want to mention the main projects that you're anticipating using the funds for?
I can do that. Excuse my informal dress here tonight. A lot of it's going to be, we're going to be doing another track 2 survey to ensure that we're keeping our trees safe. Those that would be a hazard for hazard reduction effort, we'd go after that. We'd be looking at doing some pruning, a lot of young tree pruning. We mentioned last month that we have over 200 trees that have a diameter of 10 inches or smaller. So trying to do a lot for those trees before they get larger. We are still going after about, 50, 60 trees that we may still try to do for crown cleaning, for making sure, trying to keep them all in a good, healthy situation. We're including just the general care, doing some mulching, we are looking to do planting, much like we were planning here for Perry Street. We've done the remediation this past spring. We're looking to do planting this fall of trees, doing 2 more of those sets here in 26 and 27 for tree planting. And then we also have training, and then just general resources like with the street efforts here, making sure we had an arborist on board that can support when we have trees along those spots to make sure that those are taken care of, and we're providing for good spots for planting in the future.
I enjoyed working with our new arborist. I thought the money that we were able to get last time was used well. I mean, I like planting trees, but I really like that the hazard reduction was probably my favorite. Just the trees that have died in the right of way. It was great getting grant money to come through, and I think we removed 5 trees, and then 2 I think that had, basically widow makers in them, just cut out the dead limbs kind of thing. I love that kind of stuff, and it's great that Justin doesn't have to do the work and somebody else pays for it. So I mean, it'd be a lot. We're looking to do more of that, and just help out the right of way and reduce the hazards. So.
Well, I think it's great, especially when it's a grant.
Yeah.
It's not coming out of our pockets.
So 2 readings is fine with
Correct.
this guy? So
2 readings is fine.
We would include this with the grant application. They always want to see that council's in favor of it and would be willing to appropriate any funds as appropriate. But again, this would be a 100% grant. There would be no expectation of any matching funds.
Realize we only have 1 meeting next month.
Right.
Okay.
That
would be next month.
Right. It would be next month that you would do the reading. I think it's the
Second reading.
19th, and the 27th is when the grant's due.
Okay.
So we're having the first reading on July 15th. Any other questions for Mr. Weesey? Thank you, sir. That is all of our resolutions and ordinances. Old business.
I have one thing, sir.
Yes.
Jenny, I did want to echo some of the things that Paul said tonight. It's, for some reason, I don't know why, but things are coming together, and that's obviously not by chance. I think you're doing a great job, and I'm having a good time, so
Thanks, Joe.
keep bringing it.
But, you know, it's all of us doing this.
Absolutely,
It's all of us.
absolutely.
Any other old business? New business, council. Well, then we will see you, what is that, June 19th? Or July, August 19th? Okay.
Make
Denise?
a motion to adjourn?
Ms. Lingo has made a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Second.
Keisha has seconded. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.